Hi, my name is Sidney Rey Allen. I'm an artist, designer, and teacher. Today I'm going to show you everything you need to know about painting with denim. We're going to go ahead and show you how to use acrylic paint and Pascal pens to make wash-safe denim artwork. I'll show you how to take your denim from before to after. All right, let's talk about the supplies that we're using for this project. First, we have a variety of brands of acrylic paint. The next thing we're gonna need is this golden heat set fabric painting medium to mix in with your acrylic paints. You're also going to need gesso, brushes. I like to have brushes that have a flat top or a square. We're also going to need Pascal pens. These are not required, but I definitely find them handy for adding details and finishing touches. These are made in Japan, but you can buy them at Michael's or on Amazon. A blow dryer for drying between layers. Last but not least, you'll need somewhere to mix your paints and some water to wash your brushes. All right, so before we begin, there are 2 steps that you need to do before you start painting on your denim. So first step, wash and dry your denim. The second step is we're going to be using gesso to prepare our canvas, essentially. I like to use a brush or different sizes of brushes that have flat tops. So I don't like a brown brush for this kind of work. So I suggest using something like this. Doesn't matter what brand, but definitely do go for a more of a flat brush. So I'm just getting started. I'm gonna go ahead and paint this whole pocket with the gesso, and then we're gonna need to let that dry before we start painting right on it. And I'll just mention once more what the purpose of this is. It blocks the paint from absorbing into the fabric so that it will basically sit on it nicer. We're preparing a canvas here. And this won't really wash off from your denim. You can see how when I just go over lightly, you can see the ridges of the denim. So what you're gonna wanna do is make sure that you get enough gesso on there to fill in those ridges and create a smooth painting surface. So I prepared this side previously to the tutorial, and this side we're gonna finish today. I'm going with the desert landscape theme, and this side is day, and the pocket that we're gonna do today together is gonna be a nighttime theme, just to add a little bit of contrast. So when you get to the edge, instead of just painting like normal, I start to just dab to create my outline, and then I smear that in. That way I'm less likely to mess up. You want to try and get a fairly even coverage with your gesso. So any areas where I can see the blue showing through more, I'll probably go back and cover over. So switching to the smallest flat brush, I'm gonna get a little bit of this on here, and I'm just gonna kind of paint the lip of this pocket. I'm not gonna be painting really inside it or anything, but I just want it to look like I didn't forget that. I'm just gonna smear some gesso on there. Right, so this is a pretty good coverage. Now it just needs to dry. So between your layers, between steps, we're gonna let things dry. So this is gonna dry. If you are pressed for time, handy dandy hair dryer. So for this one, I'm gonna show you guys more on how to mix the paints and use colors of acrylic paint. So I'm gonna get some blue. I know I need a good amount of it, so I'm gonna do 2 cells of that. Black for the sky. So now I'm gonna add my fabric medium. All right, so that's done. I'm gonna get a little bit of red and a little bit of yellow, I think, and then we'll be finished with mixing paints. All right, let's get started painting this pocket that we prepared with gesso with our mountains. I'm going to use my largest paintbrush and the same light blue I used for the sky. And we're gonna go ahead and start with the base. The mountains and the sand, they're gonna be different color on this pocket because of it's gonna be nighttime. I like a night and day contrast. I'm going to use a little bit of my blue. And then I want to have a couple different tints of purple. So I'm going to get some of what I made and then add white to it. All right, so the mountains are coming up on this side, so I'm going to have them mirror that going down on this side. And I'm gonna start with the taller mountains. So what's different between acrylic paint and Posca is that with acrylic paint you get a lot more variety in colors, whereas with the Posca paint markers you have basically just the color that they gave you, and that can be great just depending on what you're doing. So if you want to get a lot more variety, experiment with painting and mixing your own colors. All right, so while the paint is kind of wet, I'm gonna use some of the white, mix that with a little bit of the blue, and dab that in certain areas and create basically the illusion of a highlight. I'm not gonna get too accurate with it, but I'm definitely going to add some of that in. So my moon is gonna be in this area, so it would be shining down on top of the mountains and the sand. So I'm just gonna dab on the illusion that the moon is shining on there. It'll be so pretty. And then for this one, since it's already light, I'm gonna use some of the last bits of the purples that I have left, and I'm gonna use that to create maybe a couple different shadow values. And I'm gonna make some like horizontal lines on the sand, because sand is not just all like evenly one color, and that will create just a little bit of value going on. It'll look good. And then the bottom of the pocket, I'm gonna make a darker purple. That looks awesome. Yay. Okay, now let's paint the sky. It's gonna be completely black. All right, so now I just need to go to the edges with this black paint. I'm gonna use a smaller brush. All right, that looks pretty awesome. Now we've got the base layer. And again, I'm gonna blow dry this with the hair dryer. And then I'm gonna come back in and add the kind of outline, almost minimalistic or cartoon styled outlines with black and other colors using my Pascal pen. All right, so now we have our background completed with using acrylic paint and fabric medium, and I'm going to finish it off with some details using my Pascal pens. Shake them, and then dot them. Then you're good to go. So let's do a mirrored effect. To create these long, tall cactus, I just draw some noodles. They should intertwine to make it more interesting to look at. So some should go behind the others, and you know, nature does what it wants, so don't make them too perfect or anything either. Right, once you have them outlined, color them in. They will start to look like one big blob, so kind of remember where you were, what they looked like previously, I guess, to filling them in. If your Pascal pen starts to run out, just squeeze it again. I'm gonna make one of these round ones. These are really easy to make. All you need to do is draw a series of circles connected to each other. It should start out fatter and then get littler as you go. And then we need one more color for the last one. I'm gonna go with the green, and I'm gonna do these more traditional cacti. So just a little bit of art lesson. Things that are closer to you will appear bigger in your artwork, and things that are farther away will appear smaller. So for example, this one and this one are bigger, and they are going off the edge of the frame, so those would be the closest cacti. And then they get smaller as they get farther back. So if you're creating the illusion of space in your artwork, definitely make sure you have a variety of size. Now we're gonna add the moon and the stars with white. I like a crescent moon. There's some stars. I also want to add a planet, because over here we have some clouds to kind of add some interest, but this side we're missing more stuff in the sky. So I think it'd be fun to add a planet. I'm not sure if this white is actually ready to be drawn on, so while I wait, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna set this aside, and I'm gonna go ahead and do my black outline now. Draw the mountains. And now it's time for details. So for these, they just have like kind of wiggly lines following down them. So to create a less even line, hold your pen farther back. So when you hold it closer, you have more control over the pen, but when you hold it farther back, you have a more looser grasp on it, so you'll get more variety in your mark making, which can be really beautiful and useful at times. All right. This one has dots for the spikes. And then for the last one, we're going to do dots and lines. So to add the illusion of some different texture on the mountains, I'm going to kind of add a couple of marks to create some texture using line. All right, and I think our background should be done enough now to add the planet. All right, here we go. Next, I'm gonna add a little bit of a darker color, some lines on it. You know, like planets have different color variations. And then we're gonna use the silver and make a ring. All right. And with that, we are done. All right, let's talk about heat setting your denim, your painted denim. So what we're going to do is go ahead and get your jeans that have dried. You're going to turn them inside out and then put them into your clothes dryer for a full cycle on high heat. Please make sure they're alone because we don't want any mishaps with your regular clothes. When you're washing your denim after you've heat set them, like let's say you just worn them, you want to go ahead and try and space out how often you wash them, because even though this painting is permanent, it may still fade. All right, it's just part of a painting. So again, turn them inside out when you wash them and keep them inside out when you dry them, and try to do that as least often as possible. I really enjoyed painting with you guys today, and I hope that my tutorial was helpful to you. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me at sidneyrayallen@gmail.com. You can also show me your work on Instagram at drinkingpaints, and I love to see what you guys come up with.